Hey guys, MTash here, and today I want to talk about hand cannons. Now, there are some nerfs coming, but is there a potential buff that no one is really talking about? Now, I want to ask you guys, because depending on how you read it, it could impact what you guys think. And we're going to need to test in October, but there are some changes coming to hand cannons that are very, very interesting. Let's get started. So number one, Ricochet Rounds are being nerfed. Ricochet Rounds were the best rounds to pick. You know, you could get like flared magwell, armor-piercing rounds, Ricochet Rounds. Ricochet Rounds were just the best because they gave you additional damage fall-off. It gave you like an extra couple of meters, and so even though it's only that +5 range, you automatically had more range if you have Ricochet Rounds. They also give you stability on the gun, which is cool, but now that this has changed, there might be better choices. If you like to reload a lot, you might want to take light mag. If you want to flinch people, you might want to take like armor-piercing rounds, if that even really applies. But that's not the only thing that's being changed. We're going to just jump up to hand cannons here, and I want to read a couple of things, and I want to discuss why this might be a buff and not a nerf. It sounds like a nerf, but we don't know about that. So the PvE damage is being increased. That's awesome. Lightweight and adaptive hand cannons use a new firing animation while aiming down sights. So right now, if you spam the gun as fast as you possibly can, so 150 RPM hand cannons, and I believe 140s. If you spam the gun as fast as you can, your shots are actually not exactly where the reticle is. And I kind of showed this in a video a long time ago with the Midnight Coup. Something was wrong, something was off. I was shooting the gun, it didn't feel like it was connecting where it was supposed to. And with this new animation, where you're aiming is where the bullet's gonna go. And this is huge because this is going to rewire your brain. This is probably the biggest buff you can give. This is because before, if you wanted to be really good with your hand cannon, it was almost like you had to feel the gun. You had to feel where the bullets were gonna go and know like, oh, I'm flinching a little bit, I gotta adjust here. But you could never be perfect with it because the animation was delayed. And I don't know how much, but I've learned to use my hand cannon and be pretty much perfect with it despite this issue. So now, while my shot might be off a little bit because they are changing the animation, it'll now be accurate. It will now reward you guys for proper aim instead of proper feel. And that's a good thing. So hand cannons are gonna feel better, most likely. I mean, we gotta test it still, but this is a huge change to hand cannons. I'm very excited for it. Now, there's one more little thing on here, and I wanna dive into this because it could mean one of two things. Reduced the effect the range stat has on damage, range, fall off. The effective range for this weapon archetype. Reduced the effect the range stat has. Now that's an interesting thing. That means either they're reducing how much range boosts the damage fall off. So if you're reducing the effect the range stat has on damage fall off, that would mean that if you have a shitload of range, it reduces how much extra range you get compared to something with lower range. And that means that something with lower range would maybe get more range and bring it up. It's almost like they're squishing things and averaging things. I don't fully know, but could this mean that with hand cannons as a whole, maybe they're buffing the range on lower end range, but they're lowering it on higher end? This would be a very interesting change because this actually might shift where some hand cannons sit in the tier list and how good they are. The Duke can have crazy range. Well, what happens if they neuter it and you can't hit 42 meter range anymore? Does it make it worse? What about some of the guns that just naturally can't get a very high range stat? Is that going to bring it up now? Is Waking Vigil now going to have more range or less range? This is a very big thing that we're going to need to test. But the way I'm reading it is the range stat isn't going to matter as much. A hand cannon is a hand cannon. The range that it shoots is the range that it shoots. And yeah, you can impact it a little, but not a lot. And so if you're going through your inventory and you're looking at, your Ricochet Rounds, full bore, range masterwork, maybe this is only going to impact things a tiny, tiny amount, and you don't need to stress about it as much. Which could be interesting because it would open doors to more builds with these hand cannons, where maybe reloading is the meta, or handling is the meta for that quick shot. I don't really know, and this is obviously speculation, but some of the hand cannons that are around, Midnight Coup, this one doesn't have a great range stat, but maybe this becomes like a top tier gun because the range isn't as important. It's already a good gun, and if they're changing the animation, awesome. But if you look at something like the Midnight Coup, this is Outlaw, Rampage, like it's got some good freaking perks. And one of the things that's missing is the range stat. So all of a sudden, is Midnight Coup gonna have 2 or 3 or 4 range more? It's really tough to say, but this is something that no one is talking about, and I'm really curious how this is gonna affect the sandbox. Anyways, that's it for me. I just wanted to put this out there. I want to hear your guys' opinions on what you think the effect of this change is gonna be, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye. Oh, man, Nelly, are you tired at work? Are you trying to study and do homework and you're falling asleep on your papers? Well, then you need advanced.gg. Focus will help you focus. And my God, will it give you that energy boost that you need to get through your activities. Click the link in the description to advanced.gg and use code MTASHED for 10% off at checkout. Oh!